welcome to this other episode. My other fellow farmers and people that are following me, I want to thank you very much. Yes, I had promised to give you the insight about starting passion fruit farming, what you go through, and what you need to focus on. Yeah, things like land preparation, you know, equipment that you will need, tools that you will need, you know, looking into that budget and how to see that you fit in there and can be able to start. Well, I'm in the countryside, as you can hear, doing a little laundry for myself. Yes, hand washing. Of course, there are no machines in the countryside, and I guess everybody out there can understand how it is here in Uganda. Too bad about our budget, our national budget. You know, in a section that is covering 71% of the labor in a nation should be catered for in the national budget, and the cake should be a little bigger than it is always cut, okay? Because we are the backbone. The agricultural sector is the backbone of our nation, and everybody that knows that really does the respect for the agricultural sector and what it offers to the nation. So, before I go into all that, I want to remind you that the budget allocation for this year has been again um, reduced. It has been reduced, and we are bound to find challenges in the industry for those that are doing commercial agriculture, and also for the subsistence as well, though it affects most of the economic agro farmers. Why do I want to talk about this before we go ahead? It's because when we don't have good funding, we are bound to find very many challenges, including uh, lack of pesticides on the market. The imports are reduced because of the low funding in the budget. We have low funding when it comes to people who are accessing agro loans. So it also affects the whole economy in return. All right. So I had promised, to. I'm doing a little laundry, I said, so no worry about what I'm doing here. I just wanted to share my time with you to let you know about how and things you should really focus on when you are trying to start a passion fruit farm, like I promised in the previous videos or the last episodes of passion fruit farming. If you have been there, if you have not been there, please go there and acquire that knowledge. For other people that have been requesting for this episode, I hope you really get blessed by it, and I pray that you will be blessed. Now, for starters, if you were to start a passion fruit farm, I want to let you know that wherever you have cleared the land, focus on what plants have been there previously. If there are plants that are really attacked by bacteria or fungal infections, aphids, such kind of pests, you should be very concerned, or let the land to rest as you do treatment for it. Why do I talk about this? Why do I bring this up? Because these are things that really affect passion fruits, the pests and diseases. If you have had bananas previously, you have to look into aphids, bacterial infections, so that if the plants that have been there have been previously attacked, you need to treat the land. How will you treat the land? Either you till it and leave it to rest for a while, you do a rotation of crops, fast, so that that land gets to adapt. All you get to really consider that you have had an extinction of the bacteria and fungal infections in there. Then secondly, if you are looking out for which method to use, because there are methods that we use in helping our passion fruits creep, because most of us have different terrains. The land terrain is different from where I am. Your land terrain is different from where I am. You know, the landscape is different. So you might consider the method that you would want to use to install your poles to help support your crops. And this is very important. It's very important to consider. Some of you want to use the line. It is a cheaper method where you help your plants to get support in a line, moving on a line or moving along a line, and others prefer to use the net. Okay, the line method would be good. The straight line the straight line polling method is good, but there are things that you need to really know about how you wish to do your harvest, because that is also important to consider. For people doing the net, you know how easy it is to gather those fruits of the crop, because they are usually distinct of the leaves and the stem as it moves, but which might not be the case with the line method. So the net is good, and it is manageable. It is manageable, though it can be a little costly. That's why people use the chrome lines for the support. Most of the times, for people who have smaller gardens also, they consider using the line because it is cheaper and affordable. But what is manageable is the net method. When you make the net, your garden becomes very, very accessible. Everything becomes accessible, you know. So even when you're doing spraying, it's easy. Even when you're doing the trimming, it's easy. So for those that are doing the net, I know you haven't found any much difficulties like people who are using the thread or line system. So you have to consider that as well. First, we have mentioned, we have talked about the diseases. After clearness of the land, you have to consider and be able to know which plants have been there. Do they really share the same type of affecting diseases or pests? So that is all important. And secondly, we have talked about the method that you want to use to install support for your plants. That comes with consideration in the land terrain. Of course, there are places that you will not be able to use the net. That is okay. But where it is applicable, please do. Okay? So yes, now we go on to the next point. Which type of threads are you going to use? We usually don't use plastic threads, and we would like to consider using sorry about that, we would like to consider using chrome wires. Okay, chrome wires are good because they are weather resistant, they don't get rusted, and most of the times that you want to access your garden, it's very, very manageable. Okay, so they are very manageable. The chrome wires, those come in meters, and you can access them from the market. I don't want to go about the prices because they actually fluctuate. Like I've said, I've started this session, I've said we have challenges getting funded by the government itself and being included in the budget, and being under provided for in the budget is another case. So that's why I'm talking about these things, because I don't want to really go into the prices. Why? Because they will fluctuate, and I don't know by which time you might access this video, or sooner or later. I don't know, because the production might be now and it might last 10 years. I don't know when the prices will go up and when they will go down. It can't stay the same all the time. And if you must really know and understand why I'm talking to you like this, is because I want you to be a good passion fruit farmer. Okay, then behind the scenes, like I said, we are on the behind the scenes of doing or starting our passion fruit farm. I had missed out this episode for many of you that missed it out, and I have had very many requests. How can you move on to a next project and you have not talked about the previous project fully? You have not really included what you promised us about the behind the scenes. Well, I'm talking about the behind the scenes. It's never easy to set up that garden, but it's very, very comfortable if you follow the procedures. Okay, it reduces the risk to losses if you really follow what I'm telling you. So you don't just clear the land and start growing. You start planting tomorrow. You have to really consider which plants have been there. You have to consider which pests affect this type of crop. You know, you have to consider the fertility. Have you realized that the land is missing some of the elements that the crop needs prior to you coming to do your farming? If you really have noticed many of these, for like the deficiency of copper in the plants that have been previously there, has it been observed? If it is observed, then you have to really know that you have to look back into doing fertilization of the land to improve the elements that are missing in other plants considerably, most of those that are in the same category as the passion fruits are. So this is why I'm telling you all this. So we are talking about the tools that we are going to use, and we were talking about the chrome wires. You will need some nails, so that you need to put up those wires, and while you put those wires, we do a cross section of the wires in a range of a desirable square meter range. So if you choose your square meters, you want to do 3, 4, it is up to you. But when you start making the net, you will need what we call the fish threads. The fishnet threads is what we use to make those nets, because the nets, like you have seen in that video, have lasted 2 years. I will tell you, they can last up to 2 years, and they are reusable. If you choose to change the garden, or if you need to reinforce your garden, it's easy to deal with such kind of threads, because they are durable. They can work for over a long period. So considerably, fishnet threads of a medium size are good. Yeah, are good. Of course, we use a fishnet when people are when we're starting up. It is part of the budget, but considerably doing your own, learning the trick. I am teaching myself. I teach how to make that net for the passion fruits, how to make it by hand, like you have observed in the video. I teach people how to do it. You could get my contact from the bio or from the comment sections where you find me putting it, so you could contact me about you learning how to make that net. But considerably, why I'm telling you this is, it depends on how you're entering the industry. If you are entering the industry and you want to make it big, you want to make it for you want to focus on doing passion fruit for a long time, you should really consider using the medium size fishnet threads. A little costly, but over time you realize there is value for money in there. Okay, on the durability, of course, they will serve you at most. So the poles, the poles, the poles, the poles, the poles. If it is not eucalyptus, okay, if it is not eucalyptus, and another type of pole that can come up when installed, if it is not something that is going to die immediately or rot in a few days, they are considerably trees to consider. Okay, so you should make a good choice of your poles so that the rains don't destroy them. Usually it's the water and the pests. Yeah, you know, the ants, they will feed on your wood and it will come rotting down there, or feed on it, so you will find the pole hanging above the ground. So you need to really consider how you are installing the poles, if you need to treat them. If you use treated ones, very, 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 very good. It will be very good. Okay, that is for people who are going for commercial. Yeah? But for us who are doing it home, hey, you should really focus on using what is durable in your means, okay, and affordable for you. I don't want to put too much stress on you. You should use treated poles. No, I want you to use what is available but can be durable. All right. What else have I not talked about? Oh, the fumigation. Make sure it's done in a range of 14 to 21 days, depending on what challenges you are facing with your garden. You need to focus. If you're doing farming, it's you know, just like you enter your office and you notice everything is in a mess, your garden should be something that you really focus on. When you see something is in a mess, try to really do a background checkup. Look at those leaves. Okay, look at those leaves. Is there foliar? Is there lack of copper in the exhibited in the color of the leaves? Is there any problems that you are facing? Are you facing stunted growth because of the fungal infections, bacterial infections? How considerably are you really handling your garden? How are you really taking it serious? How are you focusing on improving the quality of your plants and the yield? Because if you don't focus on the quality of the crops, you will get a poor yield. Just know that. And for starters, for people who want to really consider, if you don't have money to do a soil sample, it is very important to start with a small portion of your dedicated or demarcated land piece for your passion fruit production. Yeah, you could test the ground like that, so you could know which elements you need to apply, which fertilizers you will need to use for you to have a good yield or harvest at the end of the seasons. Well, as for those that have not had me tell you very many things about passion fruits and you have missed something, I want to tell you that you could make your consultations through my line, as you have heard it or seen it in the comments sections displayed or in the profile. You could email me. It is okay. For anything I've missed, I don't think I've missed anything in there. I've talked about land, I've talked about the tools, and I've talked about the spraying, I've talked about the pests. Yeah. The other thing we could talk about is the security for your garden. Many of us don't focus on this because we are not we are not looking at we don't look at it, or we don't consider it as a threat. But nowadays, I will tell you, it is very important to focus on your security. You know, the garden has to have little or no access to rodents from outside or from near. By how do you do that? We have rodent traps and pest traps, and those you can easily access through consultation or through your agro product supplier. All right, for now I want to say thank you, and for those that have really followed me from the start of the passion fruit farming, I gave you a glint. I didn't really give up on you like you have said, or you have been commenting or texting me in the WhatsApp. I love you all, and I wish you a good life.